What's up, folks? Welcome back to another video edition of Scarlet and Great audio. Maybe we'll see. We'll see if we pump this out. Maybe not. But we know we haven't been here in a while. This is a good time, Ohio, in January to take a little break. But things are ramping up with the football team, and we're going to get back into it. Speaking of ramping up, it is basketball season, and the team is doing great. The basketball team, Ohio State Buckeyes, winners of 8 out of the last 9 games and the most quad one wins in the country, 16-4 overall, 10-4 in the very tough Big Ten Conference. Recent win over a great team like Iowa. So, hey, congratulations to Chris Holtman, and give the Buckeye Hoops some love, guys. When you are looking at your TV guide, scroll through there, see when they're playing, give it a watch. 16-4, man. That's a really, really good number.
Number 4 ranked team in the country.
Number 4. I mean, Cory, let me ask you this real quick because I haven't been watching.
Mm-hmm.
How good are they, though, really? Are they just a tweak in getting chemistry away from a Final Four team? Are they that good?
I don't know if I go Final Four, but they are definitely a team that can make a run in the tourney just because they have so many three-point shooters.
Okay.
Ahrens has come of age. He's finally become a Diebler-type three-point shooter. Of course, Washington when he gets hot, and you got Seth Towns off the bench who can hit threes, and Walker can hit the occasional three, and even Kyle Young's contributing with three-pointers here and there. But Young and Liddell are holding it down and holding on the fort underneath. But even if they're not playing great, you still got ball handlers on the edge that can just pop off and go nuts. And it's almost like one of those teams where, like, even against Iowa, they were down 11. All of a sudden, they're down 4 because Washington hits a couple threes in a row. It's like they're never quite out of it. They fight it hard. They're just scrappy. They got a ton of decent players. Nobody who's standout phenomenal. Just a ton of really good players. A lot of good depth. They play 10 guys a night. So they have a chance to go to the Elite 8, something like that for sure.
Well, if they're the number 4 team in the country, how are they not a Final Four team?
I don't know. I'm not ready to go there yet.
That's what I said. Is if they tweak one or two things and really hit a stride, are they?
They got to play better defensively, I guess. But at the same time, everybody's already calling them a number 1 seed. I'm like, let's finish out the season first.
So you think they're a defensive adjustment and a defensive tenacity away from making a run to the final?
It's hard to say because do they give up some of their offensive firepower to play better defense? I don't know. Maybe I think
like Ahrens
you just kind of stick with what is getting you there, and that's just great shooting from beyond the arc. I know you can live and die by the three, but they got down low guys like Liddell and Young who really could complement and contribute down low. So they complement each other. And Zed Key, got to mention him real quick. True freshman off the bench, 6'9" center. He's been more than advertised. He's a thumper down there, and he'll get physical with you, and he's a good cleanup guy. Bodes well for the future of Ohio State basketball with him, but he's been much better than they've even needed him to be.
I know what you mean a little bit by you give up some of your best defensive players to get your best offensive guys out there. I did watch the end of the Illinois game, and apparently
going way back.
Apparently, EJ Liddell's a great player. Illinois' defense was predicated on abusing him. So I understand, but hey, if he's that good on offense, you got to have him out there.
I mean, he does get a shot block here and there, but he's not a defensive powerhouse. But he's a great, he's got that mid-range game that you really like, and a 6'7" guy who can move and dribble off. He could. He's good off the shoulder. He's not a typical down low guy, but he can put his back to the basket. He can go outside, hit occasional three at times too. He's very dangerous on the offensive end. And Kyle Young's just, again, Mr. Utility, all he can do everything. And then he had 18 points last night against Maryland. It's very key because Liddell did not have a great game. But Kyle Young getting 18 points was huge in the pickup. So they complement each other. Nobody's a standout every single night, but somebody steps up.
Very cool. Very good. Kind of 2004 Detroit Pistons-esque.
A lot like that.
Thing. Yeah, I like it. All right.
Except no Ben Wallace, but still.
No Ben. No, yep. All right, Cory. What are we really doing here? We want to talk about Al Washington to good old Rocky Top rumors. Right now, as it sits, 2:44 p.m. on Tuesday, it's looking like he's maybe back in. I know Buckeye Scoop was like he's gone and he's back, and we had it first that he was both gone and that he is both back, and we are both right. So what? No one really knows, but I guess right now the lean is that he is back. Can
Well,
you?
allegedly now Tennessee's going to come up with a new offer, even
Oh,
higher. So he's, you know what? Good on him, man. He's going to make bank whatever he does. So I'm happy for him either way.
yeah. Well, a lot of people say something like, "Why is this even a thought?" Why? And some of the more educated fans may say, and I absolutely understand why he would go, but some may say, "Why go to Tennessee?" Cory, kind of break that down. Why? Yeah, I get it. It's LOL Vols. I get that. I get they're a laughing stock. I get they're an embarrassment. I get that the only thing they can literally say to make themselves feel good is we play in daggum SEC. That's
Yeah.
it. You lose to Kentucky. That's who you are. But that's not how coaches look at things. So why would Al Washington consider this move?
Well, the pros and cons to it are obviously the pro is he gets to go be a D coordinator. He gets to run his own defense. Obviously, every coach wants that. Who's on that side of the ball or any side of the ball, they want to be the guy in charge. And Washington maybe feels like that's not happening fast enough at Ohio State, right? So he gets to get paid $1.5 to $2 million a year to go run a defense in an SEC defense in a team that has historically been pretty good, not in the last 20 years, but historically they've been good. It's not impossible to make Tennessee good, right? In fact, they have been recruiting well. Granted, they've been cheating, but
They do recruit well. Yeah.
and Washington is a really good recruiter, and he could recruit at a place like Tennessee. He could find success there, but the con to me is this: Heupel. I mean, I'm in Orlando. Okay, he just came from being the UCF coach. Heupel to me is extremely mediocre as a head coach. I don't think he'll last long at Tennessee. And then Washington's back looking for another job.
This is
Probably back.
Band-Aid hire, right?
Yeah, I don't. He was kind of like, well, we can't get our first choice of Bill Belichick, so he went to Heupel. I mean, it's like, that's how Tennessee fans think. And to me, I looked at it and go, Heupel may not be. He may be there 3 years, maybe, and maybe he'll be successful. And I'm wrong, but I don't see it. He got fired from his alma mater at Oklahoma as the offensive coordinator. Fired. Became that at Missouri, was kind of okay. Got taken as the head coach at UCF when Scott Frost left. Is 28-8 record at UCF after Scott Frost set him up for success.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been very mediocre. UCF fans are kind of iffy on him. I mean, if UCF fans are the most optimistic people on the planet. They think they're going to be the next Alabama. So if they can't find good in you as a coach, then I don't know. And I'll tell you, I laughed when Tennessee hired him. I was just like, okay, well, whatever, Tennessee, you're still stuck in the in that basement of mediocrity. And anyway, now, so I understand the appeal of Washington. I can go be a DC, 35,
Right.
36 years old. I can go recruit who I want. I can get $2 million a year. But I'd almost say to him, hang on at Ohio State. Just hang on, because your opportunity is coming, and better opportunities down the road will come. I just don't think Tennessee is the best opportunity to put on your resume, because then you're almost taking another step backwards once Heupel possibly fails. You're back to a linebacker coach somewhere, So to me, I would wait for a better opportunity, but that's me.
Yeah. Logically, it is the next progression.
Mm-hmm.
Why go to Tennessee? Well, in short, it is the exact career path that any coach wants. Power 5 position coach to Power 5 coordinator. Like, that is as good as you can hope for.
A big raise.
For a big raise. And it's the natural progression. You go there, you knock it out of the park. Maybe Tennessee goes 7-5, but they were doing it because their offense just couldn't put points up because they were losing games 13 to 17.
But defense was holding people to 17 to 20 points. Yep.
Then all of a sudden, you get a blue blood on the phone to where they're offering you a head coach position.
Yep.
So there is a path there that is very appealing and very status quo. And I say status quo in a good way to upward trajectory of coaching. But then the microcosms you look at, well, is Tennessee just put a Band-Aid hire, and is this guy going to put you in a position to be successful? You know what I mean? And then is he going to do the UCF, just run and shoot, spread them out, speed, get speed all over the field and not really focus on defense, turn it over to you? And, there are there's some minutia there to where maybe this one may not be it. However, if Ohio State doesn't sweeten the pot and say, if they just say, look, man, you're a linebackers coach, you're a state of linebackers coach, and you're going to make 4, 5, 6, 700,000 a year. He's probably making $500,000 a year. And then we're going to try to get you moved upward, but that's what we got for you right now. Then even then, maybe Tennessee is the move because, like you said, the pay, and it's at least your name's out there. You are no longer a linebacker, so you're a D coordinator. But so you go back to Ohio State, and Ohio State starts to sweeten the pot. And that's where we go. So why should he stay now that obviously he's drove his price up a little?
Yeah, obviously it's his hometown, a legacy. He and Ryan Day have a great relationship. That's another reason that it's like you want to go to the area. The grass is not always greener. You want to go to the coach you don't know, or you want to stick with the coach you do know. You're getting a chance to learn under other coaches, to become that position coach. I mean, you're still 36. You're not 50. It's not like Larry Johnson head coaching spot where it just ain't happening now. You're too old. As much as I love Larry, that's not a knock on Larry. It just is what it is. He never got a fair shot. But you're still young. You're still learning. We definitely have plans for you. Just please trust the process. Like you tell the players, trust the process a little bit. I don't know what they can give him. Obviously, with Madison retiring, that frees up some money that they can throw in his pocket because they didn't replace anybody, didn't really bump anybody up too heavy in raises, I doubt.
Right.
Parker Fleming's not going to be getting $1.2 million. So
Nope.
all of a sudden it frees up some money. Maybe we say, hey, you know what? Instead of $500,000, we'll give you $800,000 to $900,000. We'll get you closer to that mark you're going to be making at Tennessee, and we'll give you the co-DC spot. Now, that's the interesting thing. If he becomes the co-DC, to keep him and to entice him to give him that raise. Does he become a real co-DC? Like, hey, Coach Coombs, we know we told you we weren't going to have a co-DC. I'm sorry about this, but we have to keep Al Washington, and you're just going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, Kerry's not really in a position right now to make demands.
That's true. And you can say, look, I don't want to, Kerry, I'm not going to move on from you, but we are going to keep Washington. We're going to keep grooming him to be one of these guys, and he can run the front seven. You keep running the back seven, and I would wonder how Combs would take that. Like, you told me, well, I got to keep Washington. Okay, I can't lose my guy here. I have big plans for him. I actually got that impression when we hired Al Washington that we had big plans. Like, this guy's going to be the future. And because he's a great recruiter, great coach. Look at the linebacker play. It's gotten infinitely better since he's gotten there. I mean, even Tough Borland had a good year this past year. Couldn't guard Devontae Smith. That's not on Al Washington. Yeah. But I would say if you give him that co-DC spot. Now, Johnny, do you think it'll be in name only just to give him the raise, or do you think you'll say, listen, you do have serious responsibilities?
No, I absolutely think it's a name only. I actually think Cody C is almost always a name only, but this one I think there may be an uptick in responsibility as far as things that the Buck
maybe like you assist Combs overseeing the defense.
Yeah. The Buck, you're a person to blame. Everything is Kerry's fault. Ultimately, on defense, recruiting, everything, game plan, scheme, outcome, almost everything is your fault. You're the second in command, and they may give some more responsibilities, and they may tell Kerry to groom more. And I think it works for Kerry because theoretically he gave this back half up. He gave the back half up to Barnes. He's just, hey, you're the DC now. You are the CEO of the defense. And, maybe in Washington can maybe be your right-hand man. So I think it would be a name only. But I think there's still ways to give him more responsibility. And you're talking about being in a good position. If he is the guy looking over Combs' shoulder and learning more about when to call what and all that, if I'm Al Washington and I put my Buckeye fan hat on, I say, you stay, but you learn everything you can about when to call and what to call, that type of thing. And then if Kerry Coombs isn't up to par this next year, you kick that door open and you say, you don't have a search because your guy's here and I'm the guy. Hey. Here's a list of 40 times my boss that you're firing made the wrong call and I knew it, but I was a good soldier and I didn't get in a fist fight on the headset right now. I'm the guy. I'm here. I'm not. And then You waited a year, and now you're the DC of Ohio
Yep.
State. So and now you're probably looking at $1 million, $1.2 million a year, and
And
it's
you're
you're in a
right
good
in line to
spot.
be a head coach somewhere at some point. Johnny, I love that way of thinking. I love the idea that he says, "Look, I didn't give Kerry any problems. I knew when he was screwing up." I would say the only way that wouldn't work is if the defense was just a complete disaster. Like, I mean, worse than this past year. Like this
Right.
past year times two. Like, okay, I got a clean house. This is insane. But if it was like a little better, but not good enough, and Kerry kind of just isn't getting it done, and he's in the front seven looks really good.
Just like last year,
Yeah,
there's a
just like
big
last year.
contrast. Yeah.
And then you can say, Al did his job. I'm willing to see what he can do so the fan base doesn't revolt. I'm willing to see what he does and let Kerry just kind of maybe move on. But I like that point of view. I like this idea of Washington stomping into Ryan Day's office going, look, I knew what was going wrong. I told you privately what I felt was wrong. I told the staff privately what I felt was wrong. This is how we need to just have that confidence. This is how we need to approach it. I'm ready for this job. Give it to me now. Maybe he didn't want to do that. Maybe he's like, I'm ready for the job now. I'm going to go to Tennessee and show everybody. But I hope he stays. I'm a huge Al Washington fan. He's a great recruiter, great coach. All around seems like a great guy on top of everything. You want culture. You want those good people in your culture like that. I was so stoked when he came to, sorry for that early 90s term, stoked, but he was so stoked when he came to Ohio State. I know Michigan fans didn't like him. I thought they were crazy because Devin Bush was his last project, who ended up being a great player. People said I didn't want Rashawn Gary in the Packers because he's Michigan. I was like, I would have loved Devin Bush. Are you kidding me? Devin Bush is a monster. I'm sorry he gets hurt, but he's a great player. But that being said, I hope Washington stays. I'm on the Washington fan bandwagon. It wouldn't even bother me, Johnny, if next year the defense wasn't as good. They decided to move on from Coombs and they just gave the job to Washington. Wouldn't even bother me because I think that highly of them.
That's high praise. That's high praise. Well, you could kind of, on a little bit of devil's advocate, I was wondering going into this if he wasn't not a bad coach, but just maybe not worthy of putting the next guy in line. I felt lied to about his statements about Tough Borland, but that's not a microcosm because every coach lied to me.
They all
Tough.
talk like that. They're not going to bash their players publicly.
Yeah. And he just laid it on a little thick.
But he did the public talk that is kind of just he's a great student. He's a game. He's a warrior. He's always bringing it.
When he said watch film with me, he just flat gets to the ball. And I was like, all right, dude, somebody, I don't know how to watch it with you, but somebody does, and somebody will show you that he's probably calling the press's bluff there, right? Like, none of you
they're not going to watch film.
or they don't know how with him. Another coach would have been like, yeah, I'll show you why you shouldn't be on the field. But he did progress the linebackers. Werner got better year by year by year. Borland got better year by year by year.
Browning got better.
Browning got better. Hilliard turned into a monster.
Took a big leap under Washington.
That is where I thought, he was good. I didn't know though if it meant he was worthy of grooming to be the guy, in the future. But what does tell me they think an awful lot of him is the fight to keep him.
Yeah.
This long drawn out fight tells me all I need to know. The long drawn out fight tells me, and part of it, if you are a huge Washington naysayer, you could say, yeah, he's not the guy to groom, but they can't lose him right now because they just lost Madison and they're just in this flux. They don't need, it's already February, no more coaching search. They don't need that anymore. Okay. But I just don't feel like you fight this hard for a guy that you don't really believe in. So I think they do believe in him. And I obviously know that you do. So to keep him, I think you just got to do what we said, right? You sweeten the deal, you find some money under the mattress somewhere.
Call a booster.
And just show him a game plan. You got to be a good salesman. You have to recruit the good recruiter now and say,
who knows
this is why. Yeah, this is why. No bones about it. Tennessee's a great deal in name and in paycheck, but this is why waiting a little bit's better for you.
Not to mention, again, the stability of the program at Ohio State. Tennessee, you'd be good. You'd be taking a big chance with their instability over the last year.
And you'd be like, what's the culture like, dude?
Yeah. What if you go there? What if you go there? You're making $2 million and you just hate life because you're there.
Yeah, real life Wednesdays, Big Macs and cash bags. And
But
I get
that
it.
coach is gone, Johnny.
Right, right.
Well,
You
this
cannot
has been the culture
flip
for 20 years.
exactly. You can't flip the switch that quickly. They
Especially with Josh
haven't.
Heupel.
Exactly. That's
You didn't
why.
get Urban Meyer. You got Josh Heupel.
Yes, exactly, exactly. You didn't get Urban Meyer. You didn't get. You got. I can't even think of another guy that switches cultures
Nick
that
Saban.
quick.
I mean, it's like,
Maybe, but he was always at good teams.
well, I'll put it
Urban's
this
the
way: if
yeah. You
If
didn't
they
get
had
Nick
hired
Saban.
Urban, if they had hired even John Gruden, Urban, all the fantasy names Tennessee fans think they're going to
Oh,
get,
it's a go. You got to
oh, it's a
go.
go. You got to
Yeah.
go. I get it, but no, not with Josh Heupel. I mean, and I'm not saying Josh Heupel. Maybe he proves me wrong, becomes a good coach. I'm not saying
It's just a lot to overcome, man.
it's a
Right
lot to
now,
overcome, and it's like you're guessing at this point. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you're taking a huge risk, and I just think there are better opportunities down the road that are going to come to you being an Ohio State or position coach. Johnny, real quick, let's end on this. If he does leave, if the unthinkable happens, who do we replace him with?
I think you go. I don't look. Ryan Day a couple years ago pulled an unknown name out of thin air named
Yep.
Jeff Halfley, who you and
Mm-hmm.
I admittedly were like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And he was awesome. I know he's so good that those don't just grow on trees. And I know you could have another situation where you go get a guy like Kerry Coombs, maybe wasn't quite ready. Maybe you go get another guy that's not quite
Could he
ready.
pull Vrabel? Is he that good? I'm kidding.
Yeah. Uh, if you go, obviously, I'm not gonna like drop transcendent knowledge here, Cory. You go, you go, and you see who's available, and you get the best name, the best vetting process you can do,
Mm-hmm.
or you just make it Larry Johnson. You just do it. You like, hey, I know you can get a lot of time left. Who else?
Can he
You're
coach
that.
both positions though?
Oh, you mean to be linebackers and
No, I just mean to be linebacker coach. I mean,
oh, and not a co-DC?
no, I don't think you would bring
Yeah,
in a guy who'd be a Cody C. But you know who I saw this on Twitter and I agree with it. It would be my number one choice. I just
James
have a
Laurinaitis.
exactly. I'd have a Brian.
I was just guessing. I didn't
Yeah,
see it
I'd
on
have a
Twitter.
Brian Hartline feeling about James Laurinaitis. I mean, I'm not. I
Why
think he would.
two short-haired white guys?
Yeah, exactly. Who I know. I think Laurinaitis A would be a great recruiter, and B, maybe a year he'd have like a kind of a rough year to start off with to learn how to be a coach. But as long as he got some help,
Mhm.
I would say get a guy like Laurinaitis if he even wanted to do it. I don't even know if he wants to do it. Hartline wanted to be a coach.
Right.
If Laurinaitis wanted it, I'd be my
Larry,
first choice.
he would
And
do
I
it.
know people
He
are
would
now
do it.
screaming Marcus Freeman. It isn't happening. That is there. Laurinaitis is a better chance than Marcus Freeman. Freeman
Yeah.
is just
Freeman's
staying
not
over there.
Freeman's not coming to Ohio State for anything less than sole DC as
Sold DC,
head coach. Yeah.
and it ain't happening. So
Yeah. No, you're right. I didn't think about that element with Larry Johnson have to coach two positions. I was thinking more about like the second in command in defense. No, just
I'm fine with Larry in second command. Don't get me
no,
wrong.
you're right. No,
Yeah,
you're right. I was a little cavalier in that. I think James Laurinaitis would take it. Now, here's the thing. There's no guarantee that he knows what the heck he's doing.
I know you're right.
I would wonder
Yeah.
who's quality control for linebackers. We just promoted like a couple, Parker
Can we do
Fleming
that
here before
again
that month.
though?
Yeah, can you do that again where you have your safeties coach? No, not your second.
We promoted Parker to special teams coach. That's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do. I don't know if you can do it
Hartline would
special
make
teams
sense
and
at wide
linebackers.
receiver because of his experience as a wide receiver in the NFL and college for so many years. Corey Dennis, in my opinion, still made sense because he had been around the program
Yes.
forever in that
Yeah.
quarterback room.
And you have good oversight there with Ryan Day.
Exactly. If we had a defensive-minded coach, I might have been a little worried about it. But
I don't know if you can do it again. It just depends on the character.
yeah,
Look, they're studs. I'm convinced all around the country as GAs and QCs right now.
I agree.
Funny story. This is another video. I have a guy, my best friend actually, Cory, used to play college football with Joe Brady, and he can tell you about Joe Brady's development. He was in the same position room with Joe Brady. He can tell you about how maybe sometime there's another guy out there that might have taught Joe Brady a thing or two and is still relatively unknown. I think those guys are out there everywhere. So you see who you have as QC. And then, yeah, you see Laurinaitis would do it. Another thing he has in common quickly with Brian Hartline, think both of them own some rural farmland area in Central Ohio. So it's a match made in heaven.
I'll tell you a name I think you could look out for who might be coming on as an analyst. If Washington does leave, Paul Rhodes
I'm not
from
familiar.
Iowa State, former head coach. He's an Arizona DC last year. I think that's gone now because they got a new coach. But I don't know if he's still hired by them or not. But he was an inside linebacker coach at one time at Iowa State. He's been a defensive guy his whole career. Done a lot of DB coaching, but I wouldn't be surprised if they actually said go ahead and coach linebackers. If Washington does go on a, I mean, it'd be slim pickings right now who you could take anyway. So I wouldn't surprise me if they went with a guy like Paul Rhodes.
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah, that
wouldn't be a terrible hire. I mean, he's a good defensive coach. He's been, again, it wouldn't, and he's also experienced, so he knows how to run the room. It wouldn't be a bad hire in my opinion. I've heard he might be coming on as an analyst. I don't know where I heard that from. I can't remember, but I didn't read it on some article. So somebody tweet at me and go, "Oh, you just read that a Buckeye scoop. They had it first." But I swear I didn't. That's what I've heard, and if that is true, it wouldn't shock me if Washington does leave, because this is actually blindsided Ohio State. If he does leave, all of a sudden they say, Paul, just become a linebacker coach. We need a coach.
Yeah. Then the other thing I would wonder is, do you say, okay, you get desperate, you look at Northwestern's linebacker coaches, you look at Indiana's linebacker coaches, and you look at Nebraska's linebacker coaches, and you
Northwestern
say,
especially, jeez.
And you say, do you want to come be the linebacker coach / DC and grooming, because we don't want to step on Combs' toes, but also it's a quote unquote lateral move. It absolutely is not a lateral move. If you're the linebacker coach at Northwestern, then you get to be the linebacker coach at Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, that's
entitled is, but I mean, it's probably almost double the money, and it's so much richer of a resource.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it doesn't bother me. I mean,
yeah, so I would roll with that. Maybe there's my answer. Whoever in the world is coaching Northwestern linebackers,
Northwestern especially, that I'd be really excited about that one. But anyway, yeah, that's all I got for this, Johnny. So
okay, well, I got to go to the gym. You got to go to the gym. Buckeye Nation, if you're in the gym right now, finish your workup out strong while you're listening to us. And we'll see you back here next time. As always, goodbye. God bless, and go Bucks.